Alpha Epsilon Pi is a college fraternity founded at New York University in 1913. The fraternity has more than 176 active chapters across the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, France, Austria and Israel, and has initiated more than 102,000 members. Although the fraternity is based upon Jewish principles, it is non-discriminatory and is open to all who are willing to espouse its purpose and values. History. Alpha Epsilon Pi was founded in 1913 under the Washington Square Arch at New York University by Charles C. Moskowitz and 10 other Jewish men, David K. Schaefer, Issachar M. Glazer, Herman L. Krauss, Arthur E. Leopold, Benjamin M. Mayer, Arthur M. Lipkind, Charles J. Pintle, Morris Plager, Hyman Schulman, and Emil J. Luschgarten. These men are known as the Immortal 11. Their first pledge was Samuel L. Epstein. Charles C. Moskowitz had just transferred to New York University's School of Commerce from the City College of New York. Several fraternities at the School of Commerce expressed interest in him as one gave him a bid. The name of that fraternity is unknown. When Charles asked if his close Jewish friends could join as well, he was told that the invitation was for him alone. At this point, the group of 11 men began meeting regularly in a German Rathskeller called Hans Ladies and Gentlemen's Restaurant, Café and Rathskeller. Official school recognition of EPI was granted on November 7. The founding members always intended for EPI to be a national fraternity. Long before the second chapter, the NYU group was designated Alpha Chapter. In 1917, the local fraternity Phi Tau at Cornell University became the Beta chapter of EPI. Counting the Beta chapter, only 52 men had been initiated by April 6, 1917, the date the United States formally declared war on Germany and her allies. Almost every undergraduate and alumnus answered the call of the colors, causing the fraternity to become nearly inactive during the war years. In the years between the world wars, Alpha Epsilon Pi had grown to 28 chapters. But tough times were known to be forthcoming at the 1941 convention, and many knew that undergraduate and alumnus would again be called to duty. Expansion remained dormant throughout World War II. With the end of the war and the shift of national headquarters to St. Louis, Alpha Epsilon Pi had gained new life and momentum in its reopening of inactive chapters, expansion to new campuses, and the merging with other locals that had been hit hard by the war. In 1940, Sigma Omega Psi joined Alpha Epsilon Pi, adding 3 chapters, as did Sigma Tau Phi in 1947. The next 2 decades were a time of steady growth and prestige for Alpha Epsilon Pi, as well as other fraternities. Expansion was occurring at an incredible rate for the Greek system as a whole. However, with the onset of fighting in Vietnam in the early 1960s, fraternity life faltered. Liberal student bodies revolted against authority in the Greek system, which was seen as a conservative, elitist group. Ironically, the roots of fraternity itself lie in revolution against authoritarianism. Membership plummeted and nearly half the chapter roll was lost. It almost looked as if it might have been the end for Alpha Epsilon Pi. However, due to Alpha Epsilon Pi unregistered trademark S perseverance, the fraternity was able to reverse the trend and stabilize following the Vietnam War. Re-identifying with its Jewish heritage, the men of Alpha Epsilon Pi refused to say die. Possessed with faith and courage, they were determined that national strength could be regained, and that the fraternity would once again be able to pursue its mission of shaping young Jewish men into community leaders. In 2009, EPI became the first fraternity to establish a chapter in Israel at the Interdisciplinary Center in Herzliya. In 2014, EPI was the first college student organization to be admitted as a full member to the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations. Coat of Arms. To brothers it is known as the Kofa. The coat of arms of Alpha Epsilon Pi contains a number of symbolic objects, the true meaning of which is only revealed to brothers during their initiation into the fraternity. Chapter organization. EPI has specific titles that are used for its officers. Many correspond to fraternal tradition. President, Master, Vice President, Lieutenant Master, Secretary, Scribe, Treasurer, Exchequer, Sergeant-at-Arms, Sentinel. National Organization Structure. EPI is governed in a diamond model. It consists of the EPI Foundation, the Fiscal Control Board, the Executive Office and the Supreme Board of Governors. The EPI Foundation is the charitable arm of the organization. It directs the philanthropic affairs of the fraternity, supports projects of a Jewish and fraternal nature, and provides support for the individual chapters and colonies. They work very closely with the Director of Jewish Programming. The Fiscal Control Board is responsible for the financial well-being of the organization. It oversees the financial decisions of the apparatus, and makes recommendations to the Supreme Board of Governors. Each member of the FCB is also on the Board of Directors of the EPI Foundation. The Executive Office is made up of the professional staff that oversees the day-to-day functions of the fraternity. The staff consists of the Housing Coordinator, the Leadership Consultants, the Director of Jewish Programming, and the Executive Director. The current Executive Director is Andrew Behrens. The Supreme Board of Governors is made up of 11 positions: the Supreme Master, Supreme Master-elect, Supreme Scribe, Supreme Exchequer, Supreme Sentinel, the immediate past Supreme Master, 3 Supreme Governors, and 2 undergraduate Supreme Governors. The Supreme Board of Governors makes the majority of decisions for the fraternity's well-being and meets semi-annually to discuss matters of importance, including the granting of charters. Notable alumni. List of chapters and alumni clubs. The fraternity currently has 176 active chapters and colonies in 11 of the 14 Big Ten Conference schools, 7 of 8 Ivy League schools, and 8 of the 10 University of California campuses. It is also the largest national fraternity in Canada, California, New York, and Massachusetts. The fraternity established the Aleph chapter in Israel during the spring of 2009, located in the Interdisciplinary Center in Herzliya. It has since expanded to other universities in Israel. In 2011, the fraternity expanded to the United Kingdom, establishing a colony at St Andrews in the spring, followed by Birmingham and Leeds in the fall. As of June 2014 there are 2 active chapters and 7 active colonies in the UK. St Andrews, Leeds, Birmingham, Nottingham, London, Manchester, Warwick, Liverpool and Bristol. In 2012, the first colony in France was created for the Paris area. As of 2015 EPI has a colony at the Lauder Business School in Austria. The fraternity also has 24 active alumni clubs in several major cities. See also, List of social fraternities and sororities. References. External links, Alpha Epsilon Pi International.